What's going on, everyone? So the last time we did some shopping at the Indian grocery store, and this time we're going to make some chana masala with what we bought. Now, the first thing that you do before you cut any vegetables, before you even go looking for any of your ingredients, is we're gonna put the rice up so that the rice is done when we are ready and everything else is done. And we're gonna be using basmati rice for this. I've got some Royal brand basmati rice. Now, not all basmati rice is made equal. Some of them suck and some of them are really good. You're really gonna want basmati rice for Indian food, so get that. And if you are going to an Indian grocery store, then ask them what's the best brand. Ask them what tastes the best. They will typically give you a pretty good recommendation. If you're getting it from a grocery store, you might just have to try a few. I got this from a place called Smart and Final here, which is not an Indian grocery store. And so you can find good things that are not in an Indian grocery store, but just get some good basmati rice. Now I'm gonna be using a rice cooker with this. If you don't have a rice cooker, that is just fine. You can use a pot on a stove. I'm going to use one measurement of basmati rice and 2 times as much water, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil. If you're using a pot on a stove, I personally boil the water first and then I add the rice. I don't really know if it makes a difference, but I like to boil the water first, then I pour the rice in and a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil, bring that to a boil, and then I reduce the heat to as low as possible and cover it and just let it simmer the water away. Add a little bit of salt and a little bit of cooking oil, whatever you're gonna be using for cooking. I'm gonna use canola oil for this. You can also use olive oil or whatever. Stir that around. And I'm gonna press the button. Now I'm gonna go get my ingredients and chop my vegetables. All right, let's see what ingredients we have here. We've got, of course, some chickpeas because that is the basis of chana masala. And we've got some more chickpeas there just because I need to use up some other chickpeas. We have some high-fat, high-calorie coconut milk. This is important. You want to get really high-fat, really high-calorie coconut milk. I really like this brand. I really like the So Delicious Culinary Coconut Milk is what it's called, which is very similar to this. Night and day from many other coconut milks. You can see the nutrition facts here. Get something similar to this. This also has a little bit of a thickener in it, I think, with some guar gum or some. Basically, when you shake it, it should sound a little bit thick and not quite like runny water. But high-fat, high-calorie coconut milk, absolute night and day. We got some tomato paste. We've got 2 of the spice box mixes that we're going to mix together. It doesn't matter which ones you got. I have no idea what this tastes like, and I've never had this one either, actually, so I'm sure it'll be fine. We've got some tomatoes, some onions, some bell peppers, some garlic. You can use garlic powder if you want, and some fresh Thai chilies, which will make it moderately spicy. And we got some partathas, and I'll show you how to make these. I have some green onions as well. I typically use some cilantro in this, but my cilantro looks terrible. So I'm just going to cut up a little bit of green onion and toss that on at the end to make it look like it has green specks. And also some optional saffron. I'm just going to use just a few sprigs of this. Again, it's kind of optional. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to be one of the main flavor carriers. So if you got it, cool. If not, don't freak out about it. The rice is cooking, and let's go ahead and make this. Start off by heating up some oil in a pan. I'm gonna toss the onions in and saute them around. Okay, the onions are fairly sauteed, and I'm going to go ahead and saute the spices. So here I'm gonna mix a little bit from 2 of the different spice packets that I got. Doesn't nearly use all of it. Maybe I used a third. Again, it doesn't matter which is which. Just get them in there and let's saute these spices. Now, some of you in the comments of the last video said, well, I like to just buy my own separate spices and mix them together myself as opposed to buying a spice box mix. Contrary to what you may see on most Indian recipes of most other things, other cookbooks that I've seen, other YouTube things that I've seen, people are like, oh, I'm just gonna mix some coriander, some cumin, and some curry powder, and that's about it. People, these have a ton of different spices in them. This one has red chili, salt, coriander, paprika, cinnamon, fennel, turmeric, cumin, muskmelon, which is cantaloupe powder, I believe, bay leaf, black pepper, green cardamom, cloves, garlic, ginger, maltodextrin, which is the sweetener, hydrolyzed soy protein, sugar, canola oil, some natural flavor, and silicon dioxide. If you were to buy each of those separately, you would have a mountain of spices, and you would have enough spices to make 300 of these dishes, and by then the spices would go bad. Not to mention with another spice box, which might have a few different spices in it, then yeah, this is going to create a far more complex and interesting dish than something that is just 3 or so spices. Let's get the garlic in there and the tomatoes. Let's just go ahead and put the rest of the vegetables in there. So we're gonna put the bell pepper and the green chilies and get that all sauteing. After those have been sauteing for a minute or two, we're gonna go ahead and add the chickpeas and saute them all around. I drain the liquid out of this can. All right, this has been sauteing for about 4 minutes or so, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the high-fat coconut milk. Look at how night and day difference that is from other coconut milk. I'm going to add a pinch of saffron, which that might be quite a bit, but that's fine. It's kind of weak saffron. And a little bit of tomato paste. About a knife tip of tomato paste. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 2. As all the spices and everything mixes with the coconut milk, it's gonna turn an awesome reddish orange color. Lower the heat, cover this, and simmer this for about 20 minutes. And I'm gonna lower the heat. You want it to keep boiling though, but just boil lightly. This is sauteing well. I'm going to give it a little bit more of a reddish color by adding a little bit of sriracha. I added a lot of chickpeas to this, so that's why it's not turning quite as red as it normally does for me. That's looking like a good color right there. Keep simmering, and we're gonna go ahead and make the partathas. After it's been sitting and cooling for a few minutes, it actually turns more red and gets to be that normal color that you would associate with chana masala. All right, in this package of partathas, it's going to come with a bunch of these little mini packages. And so making these is super easy. They're separated by some wax paper. You're going to heat up just a plain skillet with nothing in there. That's just some spatter from the chana masala. I'm not gonna use any oil on these or anything because they have some oil in them. You can use oil if you want. It gives it a slightly crispier outside, but these are fine. So you just take one off of the wax paper, or I don't know if it's wax paper or whatever it is, plastic wrap. We're going to go ahead and just put it. Now this is something that you don't want to really just walk away from and forget about because they will burn. All right, it's starting to change already. And we're just going to flip it occasionally. And flip it again. You're gonna wait until that all looks white. And flip it again. Starting to look good on this side. And I usually make about 2 of these per meal that I'm eating. So the big package lasts a long time for one person. And that's it. Once it's like this on both sides, just stack it on a plate and you're good to go. All right, the chana masala is looking pretty awesome, but it still needs one critical ingredient, which it will totally suck without. We're going to add some salt. Make yourself a bowl of that with some basmati rice, top it off with some green onion. You got your parathas, and we'll eat the hell out of this. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you next time.